We continue now at the top of Daf Samech Aleph Amud Aleph and Meseches Avodah Zara. This is Avodah Zarah Daf 61a. On the previous Amud Rav Ashi said that if an Ovid Kochavim, if an idolater throws something at the wine, that would not make it Yayin Nesech, because we follow the same rules that we follow when it comes to the Zav who touches something in terms of making it Tameh. And the Gemara asked a question on Rav Ashi from our Mishnah, because the Mishnah says that if the Ovid Kochavim threw a barrel into the cistern of wine in anger, so then we say that the wine is still kosher. It sounds like if he didn't do it in anger, if he did it intentionally, so then it actually would become Yayin Nesech. That goes against what Rav Ashi said. And the Gemara now answers, Hasam over there, de ka'azil minei uminei, that it goes from it and from it. And Rashi explains, de ka'azil minei uminei, sheholech u'misgalgel hakli, kol shah, the vessel that's being thrown is rolling the entire time, al yedei shehu megalgelo, because the Ovid Kochavim is actually rolling it, umorido labor, and bringing it down into the cistern. Hilkach, therefore, shalo bechamaso lo, therefore, if it's not in anger, then no, meaning to say, if it's not in anger, then we're actually going to say that it is going to be a problem of yayin nesech techayshinon dil managa, because there we have a concern, maybe he touched the wine. And we will take a look at Tosfos as well, hasam dekazal minei uminei, perish hakuntris, Rashi explains, sheholech umisgalgel kol shal yedeshu megalgelo, umorido labor, again, he's rolling it towards the cistern. Hilkach shalo b'chamaso lo. Therefore, if it's not in anger, so then no, meaning then we say that it is a problem of yayin nesech techayshinon dil managa, because we're concerned maybe he touched the wine. And Tosfos explained, Lafi hadoma mashma, Rashi wrote Salomer. It seems that Rashi is saying as follows: Demaga ovid kochavim shalo bekavona al yedei davar acher. That if an ovid kochavim touches the wine without intention and it's indirect, he's touching through something else, aser b'shasi, it would be forbidden to drink the wine. V'hacha shechshiru b'chamaso, and here where we say that it's kosher, you're allowed to drink the wine when he does it in his anger. Hainu lefi shelo haya ochso biyadu. That's because he's not holding it in his hand. Elasamach lebor zorka, but he threw it near the pit. Umikol makom shelo b'chamaso aser. Nevertheless, if it's not in anger, then it's forbidden. Afal pisha zrika b'zav tar. Even though when the zav throws something at something, it is tar, it is pure. Kevan shu samach, since he's nearby. Hechmiro b'yayin. So we're strict when it comes to wine. Dil managa. Maybe he's going to touch. That's how Tosfos understand Rashi. V'chein perish Rashbam b'shem Rashi. The Rashbam also explains that in the name of Rashi. V'chilek ben zorek michenegdo lezorek lemeirachok. And they're making a distinction between throwing nearby and throwing from far away. And Tosfos notes, Miu lo yitachin k'defarishas le'el. Nevertheless, this explanation is not correct, as I explained earlier. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Hamitahar yeno shel ovid kochavim. If somebody is purifying the wine of an ovid kochavim, of an idolater, the idea over here is that the Jew is preparing the wine because he wants it to be able to be sold to other Jewish individuals. V'nos no b'reshuso, and he places it in his reshus, babayis hapasuach l'reshus harabim, in a house that is open to the public. It's open to the reshus harabim. Bo'ir sheyesh ba ovdei kochavim v'Yisraelim. If we're talking about a city where there are idolaters and also Jewish people, so then it will be permitted. But shakula of de kochavim aser. But if it's a city where it's all idolaters, then it is going to be prohibited. Rashi explains, Hamitari yeno shalov kochavim. He's purifying the wine of the idolater. Sha'aso bekashrus. The point over here is that he's preparing the wine in kashrus. It's going to be kosher wine. L'mochro liYisrael, in order to sell it to a Jew. V'lo nasan damim achshav l'ovid kochavim. Now he's not paying the ovid kochavim right now. Really, technically, this wine still belongs to the ovid kochavim, and the Jew who is selling the wine is not giving any money to the ovid kochavim ad sheyim cherenu, until he actually sells the wine to a buyer. V'nos no b'reshuso shel ovid kochavim. And right now, the wine is being kept in the possession of the ovid kochavim. So the Mishnah said mutter, that it's mutter in a situation where there are Jews and there are ovdei kochavim that are passing through the reshus harabim. It is going to be mutter. The mirsas le ovid kochavim, because then already the ovid kochavim is going to be afraid. V'lo naga, he won't touch the wine. The amar dilma chazuli hanach Yisrael the avri b'reshus harabim, because he says to himself, maybe the Jews that are passing through reshus harabim are going to see what I'm doing. Umafsidin, and then I'm going to lose out. Ve'afilu ein mafteach v'chosam shari. The Bach over here says it should be v'chosam biyado. Even if the key and the seal is not in his hand, it is permitted. V'hu she'ein lo klum al oso yayin. And the case has to be where he has nothing in terms against the Jew on the wine. What that means to say is that the Jew can take the wine at any time that he wants. Kagon shekasav lo, for example, the Oved Kochavim wrote over to the Jew, he wrote the following, Hiskabalti memcha, that I already received from you the money. It means to say that it's as if I've already received from you the money. I'm not going to hold you back from taking the wine when you find a buyer. That has to be the situation over here. Like we're going to say as we go on in the other part of the Mishnah. And the Mishnah continues, again, the Mishnah just said that if it is a city that is all Ovdei Kochavim, so then the wine is going to be prohibited, because there really is a concern that the Oved Kochavim is going to touch the wine, because he's not afraid of anyone seeing him. And so the Mishnah says, Yoshev Shomer, until they actually set up a Shomer, if there's somebody guarding the wine and making sure the Oved Kochavim doesn't touch it, then it would actually be okay, even in a city which is all Ovdei Kochavim. And the Mishnah notes, Ve'in HaShomer tzarech lios Yoshev u'meshamer. The guard does not have to sit there the whole time watching. Even if he's just going out and coming back in, that is also mutter, that is permitted. And the Mishnah continues, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, Rishus Ovdei Kochavim achasi. The Rishus of the Ovdei Kochavim of the idolaters is all one. Rashi says, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar mefarish b'Gemara. What Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar is saying is going to be explained in the Gemara. And the Mishnah continues at the two dots, Hamitari Yeno Shaloved Kochavim. Again, if somebody is purifying the wine of the idolater, Vinosno Birashu. So when he places the wine in his possession, V'halo Kosev Lo Hiskabalti Mimchamos. And as Rashi noted earlier, the Oved Kochavim writes over to the Jew. He says, I have received the money from you. It means to say, it's as if I've received the money from you. You're entitled to take this wine when you find a buyer. So mutter, so then it is permitted. Again, we would understand that the Oved Kochavim is afraid to touch the wine. Avolim Yirtze Yisrael Lahotzi, but if it would be a situation where if the Jew wants to take out the wine, Eino Manicho, then the Oved Kochavim would not allow him to take the wine at Shayita and Lo Esma'osav until he gives him his money. So there already, the Oved Kochavim has something in terms of possession of the wine where the Oved Kochavim can prevent the Jew from taking the wine. He's waiting for his money. Zahaya Maisa beBeis Shan. This actually happened in Beis Shan. V'Yasro, and that they said is forbidden. And Rashi explains, Hamitari Yeno Shaloved Kochavim mutter. Again, it said that if he's purifying the wine of the Oved Kochavim, it's mutter. Rashi says, Im Bayis Pasuach L'Rishas Harabim. This is talking where the house opens into Rishas Harabim. Kedefarishas La'el, like I explained earlier. And again, that is what we say prevents the Oved Kochavim from touching the wine. And Rashi continues, Avol Imrotza. But if it's a situation where if the Jew wants to take it, he's not allowed until he gives the money, then it's Shahayayin Nasa Lo Mashkin. That's a situation where the wine is essentially collateral. Hol V'yesh Lo Milva Alayayin. So since there's a loan here on the wine, Aser, so then it's forbidden. The Lo Mirtas, because now it's a situation where the Oved Kochavim is not afraid to touch it. To suffer because he thinks he chazu Lo Mafsidna. If they see, I'm not going to lose anything. Dechi Tavali, because when they claim it from me, Amina Didiu, I'm just going to say that it was all mine. And since it was mine, it was not a problem. And the Gemara says, Bo'ir Shakula Ovdei Kochavim Nami, in a city which is all Ovdei Kochavim, which is all idolaters, also we should say that the Oved Kochavim is afraid to touch the wine. V'ha'iko Rochlin HaMachzir and Bayaros, because there are Jewish peddlers who are going through the city and they're going to see. And so therefore there also we should say that it is permitted. And the Gemara answers, Amar Shmuel. Shmuel says, Bo'ir sheyesh lo delasayim ubriach. We're talking about a city which has double doors and a crossbar, and therefore anyone entering the city, it's known if they enter the city. Rashi explains, Rochlin mochrin besamim. These were people who sell besamim, spices, v'Yisraelim hein. They're Jewish. Over in Meir Le'ir, they would go from city to city. They were peddlers, umirtas Oved Kochavim, and then the Oved Kochavim is afraid. Dil machazu li derech Rishas Harabim. Maybe they'll see me through the Rishas Harabim. And the Gemara answered, Delasayim ubriach, double doors and a crossbar, she'ein nechnasin ba ele b'rishos. Nobody enters this city unless they have permission. V'kuli alma yadi, everybody knows, ki aylibo, when someone comes in, umatzi l'meikam Allah, he shaita, so for that moment when they're coming in, the person can be careful, that's why he is not afraid. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Yosef says, V'chalon, if there's a window, Rishas Harabim dami, that is the equivalent of Rishas Harabim. V'ashba, and if there's a garbage heap, Rishas Harabim dami, that also is the equivalent of Rishas Harabim. V'dikla, and if there's a palm tree, Rishas Harabim dami, that is also equivalent of a Rishas Harabim. Rashi explains, V'chalon Rishas Harabim dami, afilu bayis pasuach l'chatzer, even if the house opens to a courtyard, so it's a private area, V'chalon pasuach l'chatzer, Rishas Harabim keneged pesach habayis, and there's a window that's open to the chatzer and Rishas Harabim corresponding to the door of the house, command the pasuach l'Rishas Harabim dami. That's enough that it's considered open to Rishas Harabim. The point is, as long as it's visible, as long as the Oved Kochavim would be concerned about touching it. Rashi says, Lashon Achar, another explanation, Chalon Shal Yisrael, there's a window of a Jew, Pasuach Keneged, Pesach Habayis, it's open corresponding to the entry to the house, Kirushas Rabim Dami, then it's like Roshas Rabim again, the Jew might see what's going on, so he's afraid, the Oved Kocham is afraid to touch it. V'chein Ikar, Rashi says the second explanation is correct. Derech Ashpa, the area of a garbage heap, that's the way of that garbage heap is Lamod B'nei Adam Aleh. People are always standing around the garbage heap, they're always frequenting that area, that's why that's considered like Rosh Hashanah. And finally, Dikla, palm tree, Dekel Shal Yisrael, if there's a palm tree that belongs to a Jew, Neged HaPesach, that's by the entryway, where the Oved Kochavim is, so then also it's like Rosh Hashanah when Misyari Oved Kochavim Achshav. Now the Oved Kochavim is going to be afraid. Yala Lito Peiros V'Yirani Nogei. Maybe he'll go up on the tree to get fruits, and then he's going to see me touching the wine. And the Gemara continues, Psik Reisha, if the top of the palm tree is cut off, Rashi explains, Psik Reisha shel dekel, again, the top of the palm tree is cut off, Umayato ein bo peiro, so there's no fruit on the palm tree. So then the question is there a concern, or is the Oved Kochavim concerned that the Jew is going to climb the tree and see what he's doing? So on that, Pligi bar Rav Acher v'Ravina, that's a machlokas amoroim between Rav Acher and Ravina. Chad osar v'chad shari, one says it's prohibited, and one says it is permitted. Man do osar, the one that says it is prohibited, lama lei the salakasam, because the Oved Kochavim thinks to himself, why would the Jew ever climb this tree? So the Oved Kochavim has no concern, that's why it's problematic. Uman de shari, the one who says it's permitted, is zimna do avdolei behema. Sometimes the Jew might lose his animal. V'salik liyune basra, maybe he'll climb the tree in order to look for the animal, and so therefore the Oved Kochavim is concerned, and that's why the wine is permitted. Rashi explains, Uman de Asr, the one who says prohibited, Meimar Amar Oved Kochavim Lamalei, the Salakasim, because the Oved Kochavim says to himself, why would the Jew ever climb that tree if there's no fruit on the tree? And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Tana Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Echad halokeach v'echad hasocher bayis b'chatzero shel Oved Kochavim, whether the Jew is buying or whether he's renting a house in the courtyard of the Oved Kochavim of the idolater. Umileihu yain, he fills the house with wine. V'Yisrael dor ba'osa chatzar, and there's a Jew living in that chatzar, so mutter, so then the wine is going to be permitted. V'afal pi she'ein mafteach v'chosim biyado, even though the Jew does not have the key and does not have the seal, that's the seal on the barrels of the wine. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Samech Aleph Amud Beis.